So, something that I realized that's not in here, and I knew it actually when I was going through the process of penning my thoughts and putting this together. The book From Classroom to Dean of Students. The one thing that I know that I left out of here intentionally because I think it's one of those things that to be spoken about, and because this is a topic that turns a lot of people off. Strangely enough, in education, this topic turns a lot of people off, but they don't realize how important this is. It has to do with your personal, professional, all around presentation. And I'm going to start off with dress code. So, unfortunately, and again, this is not me taking any kind of like digs at anyone in particular at all. Turn my ringer off. There is this belief because as the dean of students in most public schools, at least what I've seen in New York City, and what I saw from my colleagues, when I came into the position as dean of students, I was, in my mind, I thought this is a professional, very public-facing role. I will find myself a lot of times in front of parents, um, the police sometimes, leadership in the district, possibly media, but definitely outside on the streets, doing the morning arrivals, doing afternoon dismissals, doing basketball games or any kind of event. I would always be, in the public eye. So I believe that the way I dressed was very, very important. So I was the shirt and tie, down to the dress shoes. And I did that for the first 2 years. Actually, I take that back. Not the first 2 years. I did that pretty much my whole entire time as the dean into my becoming assistant principal. And mind you, me being a dean, I wasn't really thinking towards assistant principal. As far as actively, I wasn't like I have to do this for that. I knew that I was heading in that direction, but I believe that when I get there, I will address that when I get to that role. But in the role I was in, I had to make sure that I was doing everything to present myself in the capacity that garnered the most respect, not towards me, but also towards the people I was working with, students, parents, other colleagues, the principal. Why is this important? Because again, you're a professional. You are making decisions and taking actions that has a tremendous, tremendous amount of impact on the general school community. And this puts you in a position where you are probably second to the principal. You are the face of the school because you have more touch points with stakeholders than a typical teacher, the typical support staff may have. And not only that, you are in a position of authority. I found myself in schools where I did more face the public interactions than the assistant principal would do. You know, and there'll be more situations where maybe school safety would reach out and call for the dean before they would call for the assistant principal or even the principal. So in those spaces, I need to make sure that there was a certain level of decorum, a certain level of professionalism that was always maintained when I was in those spaces. Because as the dean of students, especially if you're in a hot, active space, everything you do or say can end up being reproduced in a public space. You could find yourself, in a legal situation where you have to testify, and what you said, how you carried yourself, how you presented, it's very, very important. And one thing I do believe is the way you carry, the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, and the amount of attention you put into that speaks volumes about the amount of thought that you're putting into the work itself. Yes. wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. And listen, I love my hoodies, but in those spaces, it's not acceptable. At least it shouldn't be acceptable. I used to always be really taken aback when I would see deans only get dressed up, you know, like you would know the dean was going to a hearing for suspension because they would show up in their finest ensemble, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. So you will get dressed up to go to a suspension hearing because you're trying to make sure you can get the longest amount of suspension time for a kid. But doing the day to day, you're literally, if like listen, some people, I listen, real talk. Some people, and I've had this happen. I do sometimes wonder, did you even take a shower this morning? Because the mentality is, because I'm the dean, I'm always, I'm out and about, so I gotta be comfortable. And I don't agree with that. And then the fact that a lot of deans have their eye on, future roles as assistant principal, as a principal. So I would even say that if you are a dean or thinking about becoming a dean, and you have a long game in mind as far as leadership is concerned, I think it's very important that you act as if you are at that end goal right now. If you're saying that, one day my goal is to be a principal, start carrying yourself in that capacity now. Okay, some people might say, but I want to display my personality in X, Y, Z. Okay, fine. That's 100% fine. But how do you make sure that when people see you, they know, okay, this person is serious? Listen, my tagline, or my alias, the sneaker principal. Yes, I love my sneakers. I rock my sneakers, and I rock my sneakers, dressed up in a suit, tie, bow ties, because for me, my feet are very, very important. And I, especially as I'm getting to a certain age, I got to make sure that I keep my hooves, on point. But it doesn't mean that, that I don't make sure that I present very, very well. Yes, you might look at my feet, look at my sneakers, and be like, okay, damn, okay, he's rocking sneakers. But then you're going to be like, damn, he's rocking sneakers. Like, he got heat on his feet. But you're going to see me in the slacks. You will see me in the chinos. You will see me in a button down. You will see me in a tie. You will see me in a bow tie. You will see a jacket. And then depending on the scenario, maybe I don't have a jacket on. But one thing you can never say is that he's not dressed professionally. And for me, what's on my feet is my point of contention. But again, when you see me, okay, this is somebody different. This is not just some other person. And that's how I've been as a dean, assistant principal, as a principal. So the way you present yourself is very, very important. The other thing to remember too is, yes, we live in a woke space where everybody's like, for self and self-expression. But we also have to remember that's not everyone. When you're dealing with parents, you still have parents who are old school. You still have people who are going to walk into your building and see you and make a judgment call on you. And yes, it's not right, but it still happens. So you want to make sure that you're presenting all the time, in the highest possible way to make sure that you're able to do your job and do it really well and get the outcomes that you're looking for. And I always use this example. I'm sorry if I walk into a law firm and I need a lawyer and I walk in, the lawyer's wearing sweatpants and a hoodie, I'm walking back out. Yes, it might be the greatest attorney, future Supreme Court justice, but there's something to be said about perceptions. If I walk in and see my lawyer in sneakers, I'll be honest with you, I might be like, hey, okay. I might, be the sneaker, I might be like, what's good there? But at the same time, I also do know there's a certain decorum and a certain level of presentation that you have to maintain all the time. Same thing with doctors, same thing with every type level of professional. And I think you should keep that in mind, But however, as going back to the main point of this, as a dean, you have to make sure that your presentation is on point. Every little detail counts. Your hair, your grooming, everything, because you are the face. And one more thing I want to say is, often in schools we talk to students about about their grooming and the way they present themselves, the way they're dressed, the way they carry themselves. And if we are going to do that, we have to make sure that we are us who are in charge of school culture and asking students to step up their game. Our game better be all the way stepped up, because you can't ask of students a certain level of expectation if you're not willing to live up to it, that same level of expectation in equation to your role. And those of you who are like, well, my school's dressed down and we don't have uniforms, we're very, very casual. Okay. All right. But I'm telling you this right now, the ones who have been able to elevate themselves professionally and create the best and the most, successful environments are those who live up to a much higher standard than what is expected or what's believed to be the norm. All right. All right. With that being said, this is Uche and Joku. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Be well.